For those of you really excited about the prospect of no more D-score bonus system, I really hate to disappoint you because that's likely only going to be the case for the 2025 Winter Cup. It is almost certainly coming back for the 2025 U.S. Classic, 2025 U.S. Gymnastics Championships, 2026, and 2027 as well. For those new here, I'm Kensley, the host of Neutral Deductions, a website, blog, podcast, and YouTube channel all about men's gymnastics. We just hit 1,500 subscribers here on YouTube, and I cannot thank each of you enough. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't, please subscribe and please hit the like button. It really helps others find Neutral Deductions and learn more about men's gymnastics. So before we dive into all of the changes, I want to introduce some new and old faces into the men's program, and these are the ones who are going to be making the important decisions for the men's program for the next Olympic cycle. So the men's program has two different committees. The Men's Program Committee, or the MPC, and these are the ones who make all of the decisions, and then the Senior Selection Committee, who are the ones who sort of enforce the rules for the selection procedures. Now, the Men's Program Committee, who we're going to be focusing on today, is made up of 13 members, 8 of whom vote and 5 of whom don't. Mike Zera is the chair of the Men's Program Committee, and he has been the chair for some time, so there were no changes there. And then we move on to the senior coaches. So Randy Jepson is the head coach at Penn State University, and he is one of the 2 senior coaching reps. He was also a senior coaching rep last Olympic cycle. But Oklahoma head coach Mark Williams, who has been a senior coaching rep for a really long time, was replaced by Tom Meadows, who is the head coach at Cypress Gymnastics Academy just outside of Houston, Texas. And he has produced several Olympians. You've definitely seen him on the floor. Jonathan Horton came from his gym, Raj Bhavsar, Chris Brooks, and most recently, Asher Hahn. Evo coach Sergey Pakinich was replaced by Matt Henry. So Matt was on the junior national coaching staff for the past 4 years, and he owns Gym Tech Academy in Tennessee. Pavel Sarsian kept his position as the junior coaching rep. Now, both of the athlete reps have been replaced. Sam Phillips, who was an athlete at Nebraska and is now an athlete at Illinois, he has been replaced, as well as Navy head coach Kip Simons, and they have been replaced by Cameron Bach and Tyler Yamauchi. Cameron Bach's a little bit more well known to those in the gymnastics community. He was a 2020 Olympic alternate, a multi-time national team member, and of course competed for the Michigan Wolverines. Interestingly enough, though, Tyler Yamauchi has made a name for himself and is probably more well known to people outside of the gymnastics community. He competed at Illinois and is an Iron Cross world record holder and has been on American Ninja Warrior 8 times. Now, the last member who votes, who has been replaced, is the judging representative. Mike Juzik was the NGJA president for a really long time, and he recently stepped down, and then John Corbett was voted in as the new president of the Judging Association for the men's program, the NGJA, and he also has a vote. Now there's the USA Gymnastics staff, and none of these people have changed from the previous Olympic cycle. We have Jason Woodnick, who is the vice president of men's gymnastics, Brett McClure, who is the high performance director, Raj Bhavsar, who is the development program director, and then Lisa Mendel, who is the long-time men's program manager. And all of these people have voice, but no vote. Okay, so what did they actually decide about the bonus system for the next Olympic cycle? Well, I think they pretty wisely decided not to have a bonus system for the 2025 Winter Cup. And the reasoning is pretty sound. And that's because there is no real data to go off of in terms of what scores are going to look like. And it would just be a guess at this point. And oh yeah, if you missed it, men's gymnastics just got the biggest overhaul to their rules, the code of points, since they went from the 10-0 to the open-ended system in 2006. And no one has any idea what scores or routines are going to look like, so trying to create a bonus system with little relevant data would most likely be a giant waste of time. So, the MPC voted unanimously to not have the D bonus scores at Winter Cup, but they are going to be put in place for the 2025 Development Nationals, the U.S. Classic, and the U.S. Championships. And the plan as of now, what Brett McClure really wants, is to have the bonus score in place for the rest of 2025, all of 2026, In 2027, they would reduce the bonus system, and then they would eliminate it in 2028. And this really shouldn't be a surprise because this is exactly what they did for the previous Olympic cycle leading up to Paris, where the men won their first team medals since 2008. So what do you think? Are you team bonus system or no? And let us know in the comments. Looking ahead, the men's program has a lot of big decisions still left to come. So USA Gymnastics just announced that the 2025 US Gymnastics Championships is going to take place in New Orleans, Louisiana. But the NPC still has some really big decisions on how athletes are going to qualify. Remember that massive rule change I just mentioned? Yeah, well, the NCAA was like, no thanks, at least in part to some of the rules. And so the NCAA championships used to be used as a qualifier to the US Gymnastics Championships, but they can't really do that anymore because the rules aren't going to match so closely, and they need to make sure that athletes are using the same rules to qualify from competition to competition. So the NPC is going to have another meeting here shortly, and they're going to finalize what that is going to look like. Now, one of the way that athletes for sure are going to be able to qualify is by making the national team at the Winter Cup in February. The senior selection committee, which is like almost an entirely different group of people other than Brett and Jason, have decided that over half of the spots on the winter national team, they're already locked in, like gone, cannot be taken back. And so on November 6, 2024, the SSC voted that the 5 Olympians, Frederick Richard, Paul Judah, Stephen Edorosic, Asher Hong, and Brody Malone, plus the 2 traveling alternates, Shane Wiskus and Koi Young, will automatically retain their spots on the senior national team. So that's 7 people total, plus the 4 senior development team members who earn their spot on national team at the 2024 national championships. They all get to keep their spot for a year. So that's 11 of the 20 spots completely locked in for next year's national team. Now, 4 spots can still be earned or locked in at Winter Cup, so the senior selection committee wouldn't have any say in those. But 5 of the remaining 9 spots are going to discretionary selection, and I'll dive all into the specifics of that as Winter Cup gets closer for sure, so don't worry about that. Thank you so much today for tuning in. If you have any questions about these new rules, or if you want a video on a new topic, let us know in the comments, and remember, don't forget to like and subscribe.